What's up, YouTube? It's Derek McCutchew here, the founder and CEO of Panther Magazine. I want to thank you for tuning in to today's video. Today's video will be pretty much about Panther Magazine's launch, my attempt at working with Ford for the past 2 years, and also just how Panther Magazine got to where it's at today. So pretty much there's a lot of personal stuff I want to leave out, but pretty much I was homeless 2 years ago for about 5 or 6 months. I was living out of my 95 Aero Grand Marquis. Before the Aero, I had a 2000 Mercury Grand Marquis GS. It was baby blue. One of the first videos on this channel is an old walk around video I did of that car. Yeah, so I was homeless, and I was on my second Panther, and I reconnected with a friend from back in the day who let me stay at her house for a while so I can stack up some money on top of the money I already had. And April 1st, 2021, I moved to Nantasket Beach in Hull, Massachusetts. That's where I have a studio apartment there now that I call my office. It's about an hour away from my hometown, which is where I'm at now, in Brockton, Massachusetts. And yeah, so I moved to Nantasket Beach, and on April 1st, 2021, I spent like a couple of weeks, reflecting on my life and smoking a lot of weed. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of CBD actually, to be exact, and just hanging out. And after about a week or so, I figured I've always been entrepreneurial. I had a clothing line at one point. I had my own rolling papers at one point, and people stopped supporting that. So I didn't know what else I wanted to do. And I knew I loved Panthers already, so I figured why not try to start a magazine. I was in Panther Mafia at one point, which is a big Panther group out of the Bay Area. And we had a chapter here in Mass, me and my friend Hollow Vic. It lasted about a year. And then I figured I didn't want to do another Panther Club. I wanted to do something else. So I figured the magazine would be something to bring everybody together, because I learned fast that there is a community for these cars, but it was missing something, like the lowrider community. It's probably the biggest car community in the world. And they have magazines and the super shows. And I think Panthers are right up there with the lowrider community, because unlike those communities where people turn everything into a lowrider, like the Panther platform community, there's only 4 cars: the Marauder, the Town Car, the Crown Vic, and the Grand Marquis. And then you have the rare Bucks, Mercs, and Vics, and the wagons. So there's only specific cars that are in this community. So I felt like it was missing something, and I felt like a magazine was going to be the best way to try to do something. So knowing there was a community for these cars, yeah, I knew I wanted to do something entrepreneurial, but at the same time, try to figure out how I can bring the community together for these cars. These are like my favorite cars, clearly. I'm on number 5 now. And so I moved into the beach on April 1st, 2021. By April 15th, I already had issue 1 of the magazine done and ordered. So like 2 weeks after I moved into the beach, I had already had Panther Magazine already ordered. But before that, doing the research on how to start a magazine was crazy. Like sleepless nights trying to figure out how do you start a magazine. Like, the Google searches will tell you $100,000 in startup fees. I was just homeless. I didn't really have $100,000 to give in startup fees, so I was stressing out. I kind of gave up on it for a couple of days. Then I figured I tried out one more time. I did another Google search and found a company with a really good price that I could afford. And I went on Instagram and took screenshots of people's Panthers that I knew already in the community from when I had my first Grand Marquis, when I was a part of Panther Mafia. And I decided to put them in the first issue. And I didn't tell anybody anything until I ordered the issues. that's when I reached out to those guys and was like, hey, it's me. I was known as 2000 Blue Cheese at the time. I'm thinking about starting a magazine for Panthers, and you guys are in the issues. And they always down for the idea. So the company that I make the magazines with, or who published the magazines for me, I ordered 100 copies of the first issue once I finished it. Like I said, once I seen the price, it wasn't the 100,000 that Google was talking about. I went to a few guys' pages that I already knew and just took screenshots and cropped out, you know, like their Instagram name and the comment section, just cropped those out so it's just the image. And I put it together in magazine form, you know, the dimensions and stuff like that. And I sent Mad Vic a few questions who's on the cover of issue 1, and I'll get into the cover in a second. But yeah, the publishing company decided to send me a free demo of the magazine to see if I liked it. And before we went through with the 100 orders, considering I'm a new customer. And I didn't like it at first, really. I did not like the magazine at all. There was one typo in there in the first issue, ADTR. I forgot the R in ADTR. How? I don't even know. Now all the copies just have ADT, and it's kind of embarrassing, but I mean, nobody's made fun of me for it yet. And yeah, so and the pictures were pixelated. All the photos were pixelated. They weren't like smooth and crisp. And I later found out that was something on my end. I thought it was on their end. Them being screenshots that were cropped off an iPhone kind of messed up the quality, made it low image quality. So after about issue 2, the first 2 issues were really pixelated because of that reason. And I started making people asking people to email me photos of their car for the magazine, and now the quality is just crazy. Yeah, in issue 1, there's 2 big names in the Panther community that I knew when I bought my first Panther. That was Car Guys New England. If you YouTube search Panther Magazine, Car Guys New England, he interviewed me twice in his automotive highlights, automotive spotlight series. I got an interview, and then my first meet on Nantasket Beach last October, he took the drive from New Hampshire to Massachusetts and gave me an interview as well. He's a really cool guy, and he's in the lowrider community and drives a Lambo and a town car, so you guys should definitely check out his channel. But I knew him already, and I knew Mad Vic from being in Panther Mafia. So it was kind of hard for me to decide who I wanted to put on the cover out of those 2 guys, because I was cool with both of them. And none of them knew about the magazine until I ordered them. So I figured I'm in Panther Mafia, you know. I'm talking to those guys and all that other stuff. I'm just gonna put Mad Vic on the cover. And that's how Mad Vic became on the cover of issue 1. So yeah, 2 weeks, I moved in again. April 1st, 2021, I moved in to my studio apartment on Nantasket Beach. And by April 15th, that same month, I had ordered 100 copies of Panther Magazine already. And by May 4th, that's when I created the Panther Magazine Instagram account. And by May 22nd or 21st, I came back home from work, and there was 100 copies of the magazine sitting at my front door. So I get 100 copies of Panther Magazine issue 1 to my apartment. I didn't know what to think. Oh, mind you, I skipped a whole part. I got the demo version. I didn't like it. I already told the guys in the magazine that they were going to be in it. I think it was like 1, 2, 3, 4 guys were in the first issue. And yeah, I sent a video to Mad Vic, who's on the cover, because I didn't like it. I'm like, if he likes it, then I'm just gonna try to pursue this. So I sent him a video of the magazine, like, what do you think? And he loved it, you know, enthusiastically. He hit me up and told me he loved it. So I sent him that issue. Then I emailed the company back, like, I'll take the 100 copies, we can proceed with the purchase. And yeah, the magazines came in. And by the time they came in, I think Mad Vic had just got his magazine. So by the time he posted it on his story, I started getting DMs from a lot of the Panther Mafia chapters, because there's a lot of them in different states. So yeah, and then sales just started, the magazines just started selling. I didn't believe it. I made profit, and it was crazy to me. Like, till this day, it's still crazy. Then yeah, so, and I didn't have a plan. That's another point I want to get to. I didn't have a plan. I just kind of started Panther Magazine. I don't really have friends like that, and I don't date and stuff, so I'm just like hanging out on the beach. So I'm like, let me just try this. I didn't have a plan. I just dropped issue 1 to see what would happen, and it took off. So I'm like, dang, where do I go here? Where do I go from here now? And luckily, like I said, Panther Mafia has chapters in different states. Luckily, a lot of their chapters started messaging me because they seen Mad Vic on the cover, and they wanted to be on the cover of an issue. So I'm like, sure, why not? Like, I don't have a plan. I want to keep this going since people are buying it. I'll put you guys on the cover. And issue 1 to like issue 5 was all Panther Mafia on the cover and Panther Mafia based. And that's kind of the reason why. Even though when I started this, I wanted this to be for the entire community. So by issue 6, I'm like, dude, this is really cool. People are buying it. People are liking it. And I think I had just started posting people's builds on the Instagram page around issue 6. Issue 5 or issue 6 is when I started posting people's cars. The first person I remember specifically, his Instagram name is @MNC263, I believe. He's also on Panther Mafia. That was the first person who I posted his build. It was just an idea I had. I'm sitting around like, all right, I'm done with the next 2 magazines. Who knows how long they're gonna take to come in. I need to do something else. In the meantime, why not start posting people's cars on the page? It's a classic car magazine. It would be cool for the magazine Instagram account to actually have cars on it. So I started posting. I posted his car. We got a ton of likes, and then after that, my DMs just started flooding. Everybody wanted to post, and that's kind of how the Instagram page grew. And again, this was for the community. The reason why I started this magazine. So by issue 6, I'm like, this magazine has to be more than just Panther Mafia on every cover and every page. Like, I want to put everybody in there, because I'm starting to see some nice cars of people who aren't in Panther clubs. They're just solo drivers. So issue 6 was the first issue where I featured a whole bunch of people in the community, and then from there, the magazine really started growing and blowing up because more and more people wanted to be in it. More people wanted to be posted on the page, and yeah, it kind of just took off from there. So a year later, I'm on issue 11 or 12, and by issue 10, this whole time I'm making these magazines, I didn't have a plan. I'm just putting people in the magazine, and it's just growing, and I'm just making profit. And I love these cars. I'm meeting people from everywhere. Like, till this day, I'm meeting people. I know people in all 50 states, man, humbly, in like about almost 10 different countries that drive these cars. Even today, I met a guy on Instagram this morning in Mexico who somehow found a Mercury Marauder in Mexico. That's crazy. All because of the magazine. And so by issue 10, you know, I'm just making magazines in my office, in my studio apartment, and I'm drinking champagne, and I'm just hanging out, listening to Jay-Z. And then it hits me, it's just like, these Panther cars are Fords. I don't think Ford did anything for these cars. other than put them on a dealership lot. And the Mercury Marauder had the Marauder jacket and the DVD. And I mean, other than that, they had commercials like any car does when they get released. But I'm like, maybe I should try to figure out what's up with this Ford life. And I do my research, nothing comes up really. There was a forum that there was like a small publication for Panthers a while ago. I think it was a newspaper or something, but it didn't last long. So I'm like, all right. So Ford did nothing for these cars, and these are probably their best cars. Maybe I should try to get my foot in the door somewhere and try to get a sponsor or something, you know, to help the business grow, and to also show them that there's people in the world, all over the world, that still like these cars. Like, they're not just forgotten gems. Like, there's people out here that are going crazy to buy one of these cars still. So I did my research, you know, as any businessman or businesswoman would, how to send a letter to a CEO or a bigger company for any type of reason, a partnership, a sponsorship, or even just a letter like, hey, check out my business. And I sent the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, I sent him a letter. I wish I could give you the date. It's on my computer. I still have it. I sent him a letter, and he didn't get back to me. And I'm like, all right. I'm really confident about Panther Magazine, and you know, I feel like it's common sense, the history behind Panthers and them being Fords. I'm like, he'll probably find this really cool. Like, he's gonna have to interact with it somehow. But I didn't get a response, so I'm like, all right, maybe I should just send him all the magazines. Maybe then he'll hit me back up. So I sent him like the first 10 issues that I had. I sent him every issue with no letter, just a bunch of magazines are probably sitting on his desk or in his office right now. And still didn't hear anything back. So I sent one more letter, I think. Pretty much, it was a short letter asking if he got the magazines and the other letter that I sent, and I still heard nothing back. So I'm like, maybe I'm just not doing enough with the magazine. Maybe it's just coming across his desk and it probably looks like a fun little arts and crafts thing to him that probably won't last. That's truthfully how I was thinking. So I'm like, I need to do more maybe if I want them to notice me. So I reached out to the local newspaper to try to get an article. Like, maybe that's a good way to start, put something under my name, you know, get a newspaper article about my business and start there. And I've been in the local newspaper plenty of times when I was younger. I was really good at basketball. I was on the front page a lot. I still have those newspaper clippings, you know, front page, cover shot of me playing sports. Like, now I'm older and I run a business for these Panther cars. Whether people are car enthusiasts or not, humbly, like, this is a pretty big business for somebody like me to just randomly start. And I don't work for Ford, and I never have. So I sent an email out to a reporter or a journalist, a professionally written email, and never got a response. So I figured she's probably a busy woman. I'm gonna just get back to my business. She'll probably hit me back up soon or something like that. And then I see a business associate, somebody that I know, on the front page, another entrepreneur. And while I'm in the store, I buy the magazine, I buy the newspaper out of support. I'm a really supportive person. And I'm like, I wonder how long it took him to get on the front page. So I sent her another email, and by this time I think I put out 3 more magazines, and I had about 3 or 4,000 more followers on Instagram. So I had more to bring than the last time I emailed her, and that was only a couple months apart, maybe 2 to 4 months, and still nothing. So I go on social media just to check out what's going on. See if she posted any, like, or published any new articles. And yeah, she posted a status, man, saying that she needed stories. She doesn't have any stories. She needed stories. And I'm like, wow, Panther Magazine is in your email. until this day, I haven't heard back from that newspaper company. But and I actually sent them another email this year, I think back in March, and I still haven't heard back. Being entrepreneurial, I study a lot of things, so I'm like, I know you can pay for those business publications. You know, you can get on Yahoo and Forbes and stuff like that. It's gonna cost some money, but I'm like, I'm trying to get Forbes to look at me. Maybe I should just pay for those, because the local newspaper is not gonna support me, clearly. So I found a company I liked, Shazir Mukley, I think that's definitely his name. I don't think he worked for Imperium Group. I think it's called Monarch Media now. He got me on some mid-tier publications as well as Market Watch, which really helped the business. I mean, a lot of people started paying attention to Panther Magazine more, like enthusiasts and other entrepreneurs, so that really helped. So by the time the Market Watch article dropped, I was on issue 10, and I had just dropped, right after the Market Watch article, I had dropped 11 and 12. And then right after that, me and G from Philly kind of got close, and he invited me to Philly out of nowhere. Our conversations weren't really anything before this. He just randomly hit me up and he was like, yo, you should come to Philly. And I hadn't been to a Panther meet as Panther Magazine. I wasn't even thinking about meets. So, and I didn't have a Panther at the time, but I'm like, you know what? That's my weekend off too, from my 9 to 5. I'm gonna take the bus down there and just try to be Panther Magazine. If I'm being invited to a meet, I'm gonna go. And I went down there, ended up meeting Dear Rosine, who shot the Panther People documentary for the Panther platform with Jared Stark. And I got featured in that film, I think once or twice in a couple different states. And yeah, it kind of changed my business. I'm meeting everybody I've been supporting on social media in another city and state, and I'm making sales off the magazine. It was great. And I come back from Philly. I think that was July of 22. So I come back to Massachusetts for a couple months, and I go back down to Philly. I have a Panther now, so I'm driving back down to Philly in October for another meet in Philly, and come back to Massachusetts after the Philly meet in October, and 2 weeks later I had my first meet on Nantasket Beach, where I moved to. I had people from Canada, Philadelphia, New York, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island. They all drove to Massachusetts to the beach where I moved to, and we had a meet. That was my first meet, and since then I haven't stopped. I mean, in 23, including Massachusetts, from January to June, I was in a different state every single month, co-hosting and hosting and sponsoring meets. And yeah, that's kind of how Panther Magazine got to where it's at today. I mean, it's a lot of networking. The Ford thing, I kind of figured out I probably won't get sponsored by Ford, truthfully. Realistically, I don't think it's going to happen. You know, everything's going electric. So a lot of their focus is now on computers, not even engines anymore. And it's nothing against Ford. I love their products, even their electric vehicles. I know a lot of car guys and car women, they're against electric vehicles, but some of them look really cool. And I'm still trying to network with them, because you never know what could happen. But for right now, I just plan to do everything with Panther Magazine independently. I've done the numbers I can earn, my goals, and definitely help strengthen the community. You know, I can, through my platform, humbly, I can help host meets in almost every state in America, as well as countries like Bahrain, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia, Germany, Russia, Ukraine, Canada. So I guess that's going to be the fun part. You know, I thought I needed Ford to run this business, but I really don't. It would be awesome to work with them one day, but I think I'm positive and confident I can do it myself. And yeah, I mean, my second year of business, and I had my own section at Ford Nationals. You know, it was Panthers United, as you guys might have seen on the channel, which is a subdivision of Panther Magazine. And Panther United the best way to describe it is like Team USA, simply. You know, you got all the guys from different NBA teams playing for Team USA. So Panthers United, and then everybody else that's this car club from this state or whatever, but all under the Panthers United. So I couldn't register Panther Magazine at Ford Nationals because it was a business. So we came up, well, G came up with the name from Philly, Panthers United, and yeah, it kind of grew from there. And 24 is around the corner. I'm on currently, Panther Magazine is on issue 20. That was the last issue to be published and released. I already have issues 21 through 25 done. And yeah, so I just plan to keep it growing. That's kind of how Panther Magazine got to where it's at today. A lot of networking on social media. The traveling definitely helped this year. I traveled every single month this year. I'm actually going to Philly next weekend for the Philly fall meet, and I'll probably stop traveling for the winter because I want to I have some goals I want to reach with the magazine. So yeah, I told people on Instagram that I was gonna make this video. I've been wanting to make this video. I tried to make this video earlier in the channel. It's a quieter video. It's not as long, it's not as descriptive. I was kind of lazy and kind of rushed it. So I'm kind of happy I made this video today. But some people on Instagram were asking me to give advice. My advice really, I don't sleep. I work 9 to 5, 6 days a week, almost 8 to 12 hours a day. I got a 2-hour work commute, and I run Panther Magazine on the side. Plan to make it my full-time job really soon. My advice is, I don't know, man. You just gotta aim big. It might sound cliche, but I feel like me aiming big, as far as trying to work with Ford, led to all these other connections that I've made across the country, across the world. So all that stuff happening while I'm trying to reach Ford, and then realizing Ford that's not gonna happen. I still have all this stuff in the middle that I can still make big things happen on my own, in my own way. And I think that came from me aiming so big, trying to reach out to the CEOs of Ford and stuff. So yeah, aim big and come up with some realistic goal, like a realistic game plan. Like, you set a big goal, there has to be a list for it. Like, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. Like, you can't just set that and then like expect to just happen overnight. You know, you gotta have a checklist. You know, it's like going on a hike. You gotta stop at this point for a water break. You gotta stop at this point and make sure you stretch so you don't cramp up. And another thing about the Ford thing, before the video ends, I do want to say Ford has acknowledged me. They definitely know about Panther Magazine. They definitely know who Derek McCottrell is. The CEO of Ford Pro, which is Ford's electronic vehicle division, he's viewed my profile on LinkedIn. You know, LinkedIn tells you who views your profile. He's viewed my profile a bunch of times. The CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, he liked some of my comments on Facebook, as well as the great-grandson of the founder of Ford, William Clay Ford. He's also acknowledged me on Facebook as well. So they definitely know about Panther Magazine. I just don't know if a sponsorship or partnership will happen. But I'm excited to just try to do this independently. And I have some big plans for the Panther community. And yeah, I thank you guys for checking out this video. I'll definitely be putting out more content as much as I can. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.